Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I give you the opportunity to test your comic book grading skills up against actual results from CGC. This video is part 2 in a series of 3 videos that I will be doing featuring the 12 books that were in this submission. The submission was made available to the channel by good friend Octavio. Octavio, thank you so much, as always, for making your books available to all of us so that we can test our comic book grading skills. Now, I've already unboxed this in part 1, and we looked at the first 4 books from this submission. If you haven't already seen that video, I'll put the card for it right up there. I recommend starting there because it's a very good place to start. But in today's video, we are going to be looking at the next 4 books in this submission. And full disclosure, Octavio is here with me today, and I have had him organize the remaining books in the way that I want to go through them in these videos. So I know already that today, in part 2, we are going to be looking at 2 copies of X-Men 120 and also 2 copies of X-Men 121. They're right here at the bottom where Octavio put them for me. So we'll get to that in just a moment. For those who haven't seen my videos before, thank you so much for coming and checking this out. What we do is we take a look at video that I made of these books when they were raw, before they got sent off to CGC. We're going to take a look at that video. We're going to assess the books for any flaws, any damage, anything that might impact the grade negatively. We will give our best guess as to what we think the grade should be. You'll keep yours in your mind or on a piece of paper or something, and I'll share mine with you. Then, once we've assessed the books and assigned a grade, we will then take a look at the books freshly back from CGC. We will look at the grades that CGC actually gave them. If we nail the grades, great. We're doing something right. We should keep on doing that. If we got the grades wrong, that's fine as well. That is just another opportunity to learn. I am wrong all the time. I am not a professional grader. I'm here trying to learn, and I'm trying to share my journey of learning with you so that hopefully you might learn something as well. So if you're way off, go back, look at the video when the books were raw, and try to reassess how you go about grading so that you can become a better, more confident submitter to CGC. Okay, that's all the intro for this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 4 books that we are going to be talking about in today's video when they were raw. All right, first up we have X-Men issue 120. This is the first cameo appearance of Alpha Flight, but collectors really like this book over the first full appearance for whatever reason. You'll see right away this book is not in good shape. It's got a lot of color breaking spine ticks. It's got a lot of color rub through there. All of this is going to hurt the grade a lot. But this is a great opportunity for us because we're going to get to see a book with a lot of damage. And frankly, I don't get the opportunity to grade mid-range books very often. You see a crease there in the corner as well and along the edges. And right there in the bottom as well, a nice solid deep crease and a little bit of a stain there. This book has a lot of problems. And like I was saying, I don't get an opportunity to see a book in a mid-grade range very often, so this is really great practice. There's a lot to take in. There's also some yellowing, some tanning here on the back, a little bit of a stain right there. Some would say this book has a lot of character. I would just say it's damaged. But, you know, it's a great X-Men key, great to have in any grade. So, not too shabby. But you'll see there's some staple tears there, some more yellowing. The flip side of those color-breaking spine ticks, not as easy to see here on the back because of the white, but you saw them all on the front. So much to take in. I am going to take a shot in the dark and call this a 5.0. Next up, we have another copy of X-Men 120. This book is in much better condition, but still does have its flaws. It has color-breaking spine ticks, just like the other one, just not as many of them. It looks like there's No, that's in the art. I was going to say that looks like fingerprints there, but it's not. But there is some color rub you can see there in that gentleman's
head, some color rub. So there's not as much color rub, and there aren't as many color-breaking spine ticks. There are those type of creases that you see right there, those folds that have broken color quite deeply. So that's going to hurt. A light one, a small one, I should say. It's not light. If it's breaking color like that, I wouldn't call it light. But it's smaller than the ones on the other book. So similar damage in a lesser quantity. Similar here on the back. It looks like there's some staining or foxing. These books were already pressed, so they will not be getting pressed at CCS. There will be no improvement as far as cleaning is concerned. You clear foxing right in there. You can see the backside of some of those color-breaking spine ticks. A nice amount of foxing on this back cover. That being said, all in all, it still does look better than the other book. I'm going to give it a 6.5. Now we have X-Men, issue number 121. This is that first full appearance of Alpha Flight. At first glance, this book looks really, really good. Now, there's an issue underneath superheroes there. We'll talk about that some more. It looks like some staining or some foxing. But the spine now that we're focusing on looks really, really good. There's possibly, it looks like two small little color-breaking spine ticks there. One in Nightcrawler's brow and in Storm's hair there next to it. There may be some yellowing there along the top. I actually kind of sort of don't think so. Everything else looks really good. There's that section under superheroes again. That's problematic. The color-breaking spine ticks there in the box are problematic, but the front looks really, really good. There is what appears to be a very light crease on the front of this book. It's so light, though. On the back, I see some yellowing there along the edge, but the back looks pretty good all in all. There may be some creasing there. Those aren't tears. Those are just little, folds. There is some foxing right there. That is definitely going to hurt the grade. But the rest of the book looks pretty good. There's some light foxing there in the top corner. It's a really good book. I want to call it a 9.0. And finally, our last book today is yet another copy of X-Men 121. At first glance, I think this book is lower in grade than the last one we saw. It looks like this book has more color-breaking spine ticks, possibly some light staple tears, but it looks like there's a color-breaking spine tick, maybe there and there. Some looks like color rub on that black line. It should be solid black all along the edge there. This is the section that I thought maybe had yellowing on the other book, but this is similar. But the edge of this book right there, all through there, from Storm to Sasquatch, has some color-breaking creases that are going to hurt the grade a lot. You can see there's no foxing under superheroes there as a basis of comparison. This book also has a similar light crease that runs up and down the front, but in the back, there's a hardcore, fold crease. I think they call that a subscription fold. That's going to hurt the grade. There's a little bit of discoloration there. I'm not sure if that's from the printing, but along the edge here is not. That looks like it's yellowed a bit. And there's also a small piece taken out there. That's going to hurt the grade a lot. Tears and creases and stains are things that I think sneak up on people as far as their impact on the grade. It looks pretty good. It's definitely got problems. I'm going to call it a 7.5.
All right, so you've had an opportunity to take a look at the 4 books we are going to be talking about today when they were raw. You've assessed them for their flaws and their defects, and you've given your best guess as to what you think the grade should be. I've shared with you my best guess as well. Now we are going to find out what the actual results from CGC are. So let me go ahead and put this down. And I'm going to be working out of my peripheral vision because I don't want to see the grade ahead of time. As I mentioned in my last video, integrity is a big one for me. and I want to, I want to share my reactions to the grades honestly. So let me go ahead and take this one out. Okay, so this is the first copy of X-Men 120 that we are going to be looking at today. Now, these are both, by my assessment, mid-grade copies and quite different. So let's see how I do on these today. And this is an area of grading, these mid-grade copies, where I need a lot more practice. So I definitely expect to be wrong. Generally, I really overgrade in this grade range. Let's see how I did today. So this book is either going to be, by my assessment, a 5.0 or a 6.5. Let's go ahead and show you what the actual grade is. Okay, you've taken a look. Now it's my turn. 6.0. Okay, so it's right in the range of what I expected. And if you've been watching my other videos, there have been 2 instances where I have books in this grade range where I have been off in a similar fashion, where I said one I think was a 5.0 that came back a 6.0. I think the other one was a 5.5 that came back as 6.5. So I tend to be off a 2 grade increments at this level. So I'm going to guess right now that this is the one I thought was a 5.0 and it came back a 6.0. So I definitely have a lot to learn in this grade range, but these videos are helping me out a lot with that. All right, let me pull out the next one. I can kind of tell by feel what the back of these books are. I'll also, of course, be sharing the grader's notes with you, but I don't find grader's notes to be very helpful. I think they're just trivia. I really don't think they give you a comprehensive assessment of the flaws for a book, and I don't think you can use them as like a real gauge for why the book got the grade that it did. But here we are with the other copy of X-Men 120, which I'm going to guess is probably the copy that I thought was a 6.5, which might mean if the increments are similar that it comes back a 7.5. But let's see, 6.5 was my guess, also 5.0, but let's see what the grade is on this one. Okay, you see it now. I gotta know. A 7.0. Okay, so I'm gonna probably stick with that assessment. And I'm okay, man. If I thought that this was a 5.0 and a 6.5, and they came back at 6.0 and a 7.0, that's not too bad. It means I was only off by 1 grade increment with my 6.5 guess, which is not too shabby. I'm more than comfortable with being off by 1 grade increment, especially when that grade increment is 1 level lower. And then in this other one, I was off by 2 grade increments, which is more than I want to be off. I want to be as close, I want to be as close as possible, if not nailing it every single time. But I'm okay being off by 2 grade increments, especially in a range mid-grade where I have a lot more room to learn. Okay, let's go ahead now to the next book, which is going to be one of our 2 copies of X-Men 121. And there it is, indeed, X-Men 121. Now, my guesses for these grades are 7.5 and 9.0. Now, this is a range in which I have much more experience, so I'm really hoping to nail these grades. Even still, I'm wrong a lot, but let's see how I did today. Is it a 7.5 or a 9.0? All right, you've seen it. Now it's my turn. 7.5. Okay, great. That means I nailed the grade on that, and that always feels good. It always feels good to nail it. It means I'm doing something right sometimes. So that's really pretty great. Of course, we'll throw the grader's notes up there so that you have an opportunity to use that as part of your assessment. And once again, if you were wrong, that's okay. Just keep in mind what the grade is and go back and take a look at the video of the book in the raw and see if you can't figure out how you went off, why you gave it the grade that you did, and how you can adjust to more match what the actual results from CGC are. All right, here's the final book for today, the second copy of X-Men 121. Being that that one was a 7.5, it is my guess that this one will be a 9.0. Hopefully I'm not way off, because then it will throw into question how truly successful I was on that last book. But let's go ahead and show you the grade. Okay. Was it a 9.0? Did I nail these 121s? No, it's a 6.5. Okay, so wow. So I was really wrong. That's amazing. What that basically means, holy moly, I thought one of these was a 9.0 and it came back a 7.5. That does not compute. The difference between a 9.0 and a 7.5 is significant. And I would like to think that I could, in the dark, tell the difference between a 7.5 and a 9.0. But no such luck. No, I was way off. And way off on both of these books and in the wrong direction. That is just very curious to me. So I guess I have to go back and assume that this is what I thought was a 7.5, and this is what I thought was a 9.0. And at these mid grades, if this was a 7.5, mean being off by 2 grade increments, once again, that kind of goes in line with my assessment of mid-grade books these days. I'm generally off by 2 grade increments, grading too harshly, basically giving it a lower grade than it got. But guessing a 9.0 and getting 7.5, bad Jeff. Bad Jeff. I am definitely going to go back and take a look at these books in the raw and try to figure out what damage-wise, and maybe the grader's notes in this one will lead me to some helpful information, because what did I miss? What was so bad about this book that it didn't get the 9.0 I was expecting and instead got a 7.5? But once again, I make these videos not to flex and show you how right I am, but more importantly, to show you how wrong I can be despite my best efforts to learn and get better at this. It happens, but I'm not CGC. I have to defer to their expertise, I suppose, and hope that they got it right. But this one stings a little bit, but as always, it's an opportunity to learn. If you appreciate this opportunity to learn, hit the like button. And if you want more opportunities to learn, God knows I need it, definitely hit the subscribe button, and if you are so inclined. All right, that is the content of today's video. We have one more part coming in this video series. I hope you come by to check it out. But until then, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.